Hello. CA announced earlier today that the new DLC, which will be available for purchase on the 11th of March, will be named Fates Divided. We'll be going into more detail regarding what to expect from the coming DLC later in the video, but for now, I hope you enjoy the announcement trailer.
What makes one worthy of following? Is it because they wield the strength of 10,000 men? Or because they seek wealth and glory beyond measure? Is it fate, a divine destiny, to lead, to rule? Or perhaps it is simply a matter of honor? In the end, there is only one truth. A leader without the trust of their subjects will soon be no leader at all.
So, as you could probably tell from that trailer, Fates Divided is centered primarily around Yuan Shao and Cao Cao. It begins at 200 CE, which means a new chapter pack. CE, for those who aren't aware, stands for current era, and it's similar to the traditional English term of AD, after death, but it's more recent and without the religious overtones. For anyone familiar with the story, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms by Luo Guanzhong, the flotsam and jetsam of Cao Cao and Yuan Shao's relationship will be common knowledge. For those who are not familiar, however, Cao Cao and Yuan Shao were childhood friends. They would play together, hunt together, and as they grew older, party and drink together too. The Yuan brothers, sometimes referred to as half-brothers or cousins, had highly respected lineage with several generations of service to the Han, occupying some of the most prestigious positions in the empire. Cao Cao, the son of a eunuch, had many noteworthy accomplishments in his own right, but was not considered worthy by the nobility of being mentioned in the same breath as either Yuan Shao or Yuan Shu. As both Yuan Shao and Cao Cao's imperial ambitions became clear to one another, the childhood bond was broken and their armies met at the famous Battle of Guandu. This is where the well-known scene from the 2010 Chinese TV show The War of the Three Kingdoms takes place between the two. Cao Cao prepares a parasol and beverages for Yuan Shao and invites him to speak, and provides a convincing argument and many concessions to Yuan Shao in return for peace. And as Yuan Shao takes his time deliberating on the matter, it begins to become clear that the crafty Cao Cao has no desire for peace at all, and is instead interested in simply buying time so that the sun can change its position in the sky and shine directly from behind his army's lines, effectively blinding Yuan Shao's much larger forces. By the time Yuan Shao and his advisors realise what has happened, the battle has started and they can't say a thing, leading to a marvellous victory for Cao Cao and going a long way towards securing his position as the ruler of the northern part of China. Now, CA have announced that there are a number of improvements to some of the existing features already in the game. However, we'll go through the new features that they've announced first. There's a new start date, as previously mentioned, of 200 CE, so it's after the rise of the warlords in a world betrayed, but still well before 8 princes. There will be over 20 new units, 12 of which will be faction unique, with Cao Cao and Yuan Shao gaining 5 new unique units each, and Liu Yan gaining 2 faction unique units. There will also be new Northern Army units, which will require a special follower called Northern Colonel to be equipped to a character in order to recruit, The Northern Colonel follower will be available to either Cao Cao or Yuan Shao's faction once the leader reaches rank 7 and will be bound to the character it is equipped to until death. Other factions can, however, steal the Northern Colonel via character capture and execution, and they will have access to these new units too. The faction of Liu Zhong will now be made playable and will be cross-generational, meaning it's playable across multiple different start dates and with at least 2 different starting faction leaders, Liu Yan, succeeded by Liu Zhong, who start out around this position on the map. In addition to this, CA have also announced that many existing factions which are still playable at the 200 CE start date will have new starting positions. The factions that are affected by this are as follows: Cao Cao, Gongdu, Mulu, Liu Bei, Liu Biao, Matang, Meng Huo, Samaka, Shizi, Sun Ce, Yuan Xiao, Zhang Yan, and Jiang Jiang. With Matang and Yuan Shu now also being made playable at the Mandate of Heaven start date of 182 CE, and Liu Chong and He Yi now being made playable at a World Betrayed start date of 194 CE. And that's not all just yet, folks. Fates Divided also brings with it many free improvements to the game, provided in the form of an update, even for users who have not purchased the DLC. This will include a reworking of Cao Cao and Yuan Shao's unique faction mechanics, credibility and lineage respectively, as well as new faction council system, an expansion of faction ranks, and new political intrigue features as well. CA have not gone into a great deal of depth on these just yet, but have announced that these improvements will be elaborated on more in the coming weeks. For me personally, I'll be hoping CA make some further improvements to the Alliance War mechanics, as there are still some potentially game-breaking bugs associated with it, even after the update that came with the Furious Wilds. I'd like to see the expansion of the vassal system to allow a faction leader to directly grant independence to an administrator of their choosing, similarly to the unique faction mechanic granted to Shi Tzu following the release of the Furious Wilds DLC, and while CA have announced that there will be a ton of new artwork, I'd really like to see an improvement or greater variation on the generic generals as well. They just pale in comparison to the unique artwork and stick out like sore thumbs when they're in an army with some of the really cool looking unique characters. The announcement also mentioned 10% off pre-purchase sale on Steam, which I've made use of myself, and I've linked the Twitter post from Total War where all of this information is accessible in the description below should you like to peruse it for yourself. I will be providing regular updates as and when they become available, so if you'd like to catch them, hit subscribe. What are your thoughts on the new features added by this DLC? Are there any improvements I haven't mentioned that you would like to see included in the update? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye now.